Good morning and welcome back to DR Sports for yet another weekend roundup with myself, AGT, a very happy AGT, and my man Robbie. How are we doing, fella? Good to see you.
Not as good as you. Not as good as you.
Why would that be?
Well, I don't know. You tell me.
I think it's because we won the Carabao Cup yesterday against Chelsea. Get in there.
I thought it was a Tin Pot Cup.
Oh, God, no. No. Not when you win it. Definitely not when you win it. A lot of people were saying it was that. But listen, I was at the game. We are going to talk about that, of course. I'm going to talk about all the other games that have happened this weekend. We got Flex coming on as well to talk about that 0-0 draw at home for Manchester United against Watford. Before we get into in-depth analysis from each game, make sure that you like the video, comment with your thoughts on the weekend's games, and, of course, subscribe. I always say this, and I don't want to say it anymore, Robbie. We're this close to 200k. Get us over the line.
Get us over the line, man. Get us over the line. A bit like what Kepa did for Liverpool
He
yesterday.
went over
you know
the
what?
line.
I've got to say, right, that was the best 0-0 draw I've probably ever seen. It was an absolutely brilliant game. We did a watch along for it here in the studio. It was absolutely riveting. You know,
you made it
both
very
teams.
dramatic with Doyle in there.
Yeah. Oh, Doyle and Liam's celebrations at the end were absolutely fantastic. But you know what? What a game. And, you know, it was decided not even by the outfield players. It's decided by, you know, the keepers. That just showed you even the penalty shootout was elite, you know. I really thought it was a top quality game. And congratulations going out to Liverpool. But I think if I'm a Chelsea fan... if I'm a Chelsea fan this morning, I'll be absolutely kicking myself because... they had chances to win that game. You know, Mason Mount missed 2 sitters, Pulisic, you know. But then having said that, Liverpool, the saves that Mendy made, that double save he made against Mane was incredible. And then Kepa, the Kepa karma is what I call it.
Poetic justice. Karma.
3 years ago, wasn't it?
Karma.
3 years ago. Who were they playing again?
Was it City?
It was City when he refused to come off the pitch.
He's going, no.
Yeah.
Stay.
When Sarri wanted to substitute him, he refused to come off. Now he comes on, and, you know, that didn't work out, did it? He didn't get near to any penalty. No, tell a lie. He should have saved the Konate penalty.
He should have. Weak hand.
He should have saved the Konate penalty.
Weak hand, Rob.
Right? And then his penalty... I think it ended
he was
up
playing rugby, to be honest.
That penalty ended up on Wembley Way. I mean, it was shocking.
Ended up in Harlesden, that one.
In Harlesden. Some youth in Harlesden's got the ball.
Just been tonked by
Expressions is running around with the ball now. He caught it. Ball landed out in Harlesden. Expressions grabbed onto it like that. But you know what? It was a very, I don't know. Let's look at that Kepa thing, that Kepa incident.
There's two ways to look at this, right? Because the first side of the coin is, well, they've actually won 3 penalty shootouts in the run-up to the final, and Kepa's been in goal for all of them.
He came on for the one in the Super Cup, didn't he?
There you go. So he has a decent record, and what's happened is it's got to 119 minutes. We can see it happening on the sidelines. I'm looking over. I see Kepa getting his trackie off. I'm thinking, here we go. He comes on.
No, so, you know what? I just want to stop you a second. As a Liverpool fan in the ground, what did you feel when he was coming on?
I knew it would happen.
Did you think to yourself, actually, I'm glad that Mendy's coming off?
How about this one? I thought Kepa would start the game. I thought Kepa would start, considering we played Kelleher. But when you just mentioned there, what did I feel like when I seen Mendy coming off after the performance that he just given? I'm going...
That's what I'm saying. So to me...
But they were too stubborn and they had to stick to that.
But no. But after the game, in his interview, right, Thomas Tuchel said that it was a plan, but it wasn't set in stone. They said they'd see how the game was going, right? Now, to me, Mendy's having an absolute worldie. As I said, the saves he made, I think he made one error in the game when he passed it out, nearly got caught out, but he still made a save from it. To me, he was the man of the match. Man of the match in the game. How are you going to take him off?
He must be fuming.
How are you going to take him off? I know the plan. I know it's worked before. But I'm just looking at it and saying that if you've got a player on the pitch who's on such form, would you take him off? Would you take an outfield player off who's on fire? You wouldn't, would you? So I just look at it and say, under those circumstances, you've got to leave him on the pitch, because if I'm a Liverpool fan, I was thinking that in my head, and that's why I asked you the question, because I'm like, say that was Arsenal playing there, I'd be glad to see Mendy coming off, because I'd be thinking, this guy, he's been saving everything all day, man.
And he would have saved that Canate pen.
He would have saved it. And then Kepa comes on, he didn't get near any penalty, apart from the Canate one, which he should have saved, and he didn't.
And the Van Dijk one, did you see how far on the right he was? And Van Dijk still scored past him on that right side.
I just feel that it went horribly wrong. Listen, hindsight's a wonderful thing, because it has worked before for Tuchel when he's tried it. But it went horribly wrong, and they lost the cup.
They did. And if you look at the other goalkeeper at the other end, it's a completely different story. I mean, Kelleher has now won the most penalty shootouts out of any goalkeeper in history. 3 now he's won. One against Arsenal in the League Cup.
In that competition?
But they've all been in the League Cup. But
but the way you made it sound, in history.
But in Liverpool's history, he's...
Oh, in Liverpool's history now.
Seriously,
I like you Liverpool fans, you juggle it up, you started off...
Liverpool's history.
You started off by saying in history, right?
For Liverpool, in their history, he's saved the most penalty shootouts.
He was brilliant.
And he's played in every round of this cup, apart from that first leg semi at Arsenal, when Alisson played his first ever League Cup game for Liverpool. But then, Klopp, even a month ago, said, my loyalty is with Queevy and Kelleher. He starts the final, and look how he repaid him. Not only did he only start becoming a goalkeeper at the age of 14, Rob, he's now 22, 23. In less than 10 years of even becoming a goalkeeper, he started in a final, he didn't save any penalties, but he was the hero and scored the winning penalty. He scored the winner.
I've got to say, the penalties were brilliant. Apart from Kepa's, obviously he's not a penalty taker as a goalkeeper.
Rugby kick that.
That was a rugby.
He was watching rugby the night before.
I think he thought he was kicking the ball down the field, but all the other penalties, apart from Kanate's, probably that was a bit of a poor penalty. But all the other penalties were superb.
Fabinho's, the little Panenka.
Panenka to do that, you know what I mean? When those come off, they look brilliant.
And when they don't.
They
look very silly.
But it was a brilliant game. It was a brilliant game. I really, really enjoyed it. You know what I mean? It was end to end. It was entertaining. And as I said, I thought Chelsea will be kicking themselves, because they had, I think, some clear-cut chances. How was you feeling when the goal got disallowed for Liverpool?
Mate, I was like 15 rows out, right? As soon as we scored that one, I sprinted right down to the front, giving it all that. I've got up to my seat, and my mates I was with are looking at me like this. And I'm going, what is it, lads? What? And I look round at the screen, possible offside, VAR check incoming.
And then as soon as you see him running to the screen, you already know what's about to happen. As soon as he goes
like that, whatever decision that was given, he's going to overturn it. And that is why...
Was it too harsh for you?
Listen, offside's offside. It's, what is it? It's his kneecap or something like that. And listen, Chelsea had 3 offside goals disallowed yesterday, but I thought even the
Lukaku one was a bit harsh again.
Maybe, but I don't find that.
I thought they're given, in both occasions, in both goals, I thought they're giving the advantage to the attacker. You're going to chalk off so many goals there. I thought in both of those circumstances,
we're watching the
goal
goal
should have been given.
We're watching the goal now, and it's a slight misjudgment of timing from Lukaku. He goes just too early. Listen, I'm on your side with this, Rob, and let us know in the comments if you agree. Should we, from now on, be giving attackers the benefit of the doubt? By benefit of the doubt, what we're saying is that how do you choose the distance?
I just think that when it's so close... Lukaku's pointing and saying, right, pass it there, and that's offside because of his finger.
What are you going to do? Just one of these ones?
Honestly, they just showed Kepa's penalty was ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
It was ridiculous.
Night. And the atmosphere, and what I have to point out as well, Robbie, a beautiful moment before the game started is everyone, and listen, Chelsea and Liverpool fans, they've got a very strong rivalry. However, everyone was standing up and applauding the Ukraine kind of shout out that they offered before the game.
So it was great.
That was good to see.
Classy. The whole thing for me, as a neutral watching the game, it was an entertaining game. It was as I said, best 0-0 I've ever seen. It was really, really good. Full of incidents, full of elite football from elite players on both sides, and a game that really you look at it and you say you can't separate the two teams, and it's separated on an absolutely tiny margin, which is the goal coming down to the goalkeepers and Kepa blasting it over the bar. But what a great game. Great advert for the League Cup.
Yeah, 100%. I'm loving this name that someone's given you in the comments. Sir Donathan Robert Lyle. Will you take that?
I'll take that.
It's a sir.
Donathan.
Been knighted. Right, let's talk about Manchester United's 0-0 draw at home with Watford. I mean, another game, and we will have Flex on very shortly to discuss this, but another game where Manchester United failed to score. This is now their 5th time out of their 14 Premier League home games this season where there's been no goals. Watford's Roy Hodgson is now the 4th manager to go unbeaten in 4 consecutive away Premier League games against United after Klopp, Deitch and Steve McLaren. Very interesting.
They beat them at home as well, didn't they? Remember?
And they almost did the double, 4 points that Watford got over United this season. When you saw that the time was ticking on like we were here in the old Saturday football show.
I was watching the Saturday football show.
65, 70 minutes, 75 go by, and you're thinking this is going to be a 0-0.
No, I was thinking United going to score because they've been doing that all season, and I'm thinking to myself with the quality that they've got. That's why I've been looking on it and saying I think they'll probably get the top 4. Is what I've been saying for quite a while because they've got the goal scorers. You know what I mean? And Bruno Fernandes and Ronaldo and these guys that will get them over the line, but those guys missed the chances at the weekend. Ronaldo missed chances. Bruno Fernandes had a nightmare. The chances he missed, I couldn't believe. You know, they should have won the game. They had loads and loads of chances, and they blew it. And again, as an Arsenal fan, it's not been a bad weekend when you think that we didn't actually have a game. You know what I mean? Because, you know, they dropped points. So, but, you know, I think United will be kicking themselves the fact that they didn't get all 3 points in that game because, you know, they were all over Watford. But you got to put the ball in the back of the net.
And it's the hardest thing to do in the game.
Ask Mason Mount, he'll tell you.
Well, yeah, a couple of sitters there. Stephen United in the comments saying it should have been about 5-0 to Manchester United. So many shots on target, just no goals that going in the back of the net. Arsenal will not get top 4. There will always be Arsenal at some moments in those upcoming games. He says that, but United.
Well, listen, man. You know what I mean? Listen, I'm telling you, Arsenal are playing well at the moment. They're on form, and I think that, you know, it benefits Arsenal the fact that, you know, they haven't got loads of games. They haven't. I mean, I look at this week, for instance. You know, West Ham, for instance, who's one of the rivals for that top 4, and they had a good win against Wolves. But they got a game during the week. Then they got a game again at the weekend. Have they got the squad to cope with that? Whereas Arsenal can put their feet up, you know. Then they got the game against Watford at the weekend. They've had time for all of their players to recover fully from the last game, which was on Thursday night when, you know, they had a great win over Wolves. By the way, on that Wolves one, Wolves versus West Ham, I guess we'll touch on it later, but I just couldn't understand what the manager, Bruno Lage, was doing, resting all of these players like Jimenez and Podence and what is he? You got a Champions League game on Tuesday or something, or Wednesday. Well, I mean, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, they're hot in form, and when it's not broken, you don't need to fix it, essentially.
It was absolutely... They got no FA Cup game this weekend. They played... All right, I know they played Thursday, but the game was on Sunday. What was with resting all... You know, this is, again... We see it now, these managers, where they think they're too, you know, too many changes, too sensible for their own good. Same with Thomas Tuchel yesterday. You know what I mean? Just keep it simple, man. But anyway, but United, going back to United, I mean, I think, you know, they dropped some serious points there, and they must be gutted.
Absolutely. United, their next 3 fixtures are not looking kind to them either. They've got Man City at the weekend, then Tottenham, and then they come to Anfield on March the 19th.
Is that their next 3 fixtures?
Yes. And of course, Tottenham have just beaten City.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, though. United are capable of beating City. Again, we'll touch on that one later on, but City didn't look that great. I didn't think against Everton in that game. We'll touch on that one in a bit. Got a bit lucky, but also United, they got a little history of sometimes, even when they're not at their best, getting a result against City. But it is at the Etihad. That's going to be a tough game for United.
Absolutely. Big up to Parisian Londoner in the chat. Well deserved for LFC. Congrats. A brilliant way to start the week, AGT. Right? Thank you, bro.
Big up Parisian.
Paris won last night, didn't they?
Yeah.
3-1.
Saturday night. I watched that game. Again, Mbappe. What a player he is, man. I mean, I was saying it on the stream yesterday. He kind of reminds me of Thierry Henry so much when I see him play.
That kind of right-footed finesse finish in the top right.
He's explosive. It's the way he finishes, his pace. He's a phenomenal player. And Messi in the game, even though he didn't score, again, some great assists from him.
10 assists now. I think he's the highest.
Yeah, that was a good game because they started off. They were 1-0 down. They were 1-0 down, but then straight away after half time they got one back, and then after that, I remember they'd lost the previous week, 3-1 to Nantes. So, yeah, Parisian London, they must have been really worried, but they got the job done. But United didn't.
And speaking of United, let's bring in Flex, obviously a regular on DR Sports. He's not looking too happy right now. Can you tell us why that is, mate?
Can you not hear me all right, yeah?
Yeah, loud and clear, bro. You're not getting away with audio issues.
Yeah, big up. I haven't seen you lot for a little while, actually, so big up to you lot.
Thank you,
listen, is there like one of them little fast forward buttons? Just get the top 4 trophy, give it to Arsenal, we all go home, mate. Is
that how you feel, though, now, Flex? Is that really how it's coming?
Emotionally, that's how I feel. But obviously, there's still a long way to go. And look, it's not in our hands. But we're that team that if we are actually playing better, we're playing better, and we just can't hit the back of the net. But the problem is that, and I heard you guys just allude to it. There is this the next 3 games. March will tell us everything. If we drop more points, which is going to City, playing Spurs at home, even though Spurs got a lot of problems going on there. You know what happened on their day. They went to City, they won there. They can easily spring a surprise at United. We're not where we need to be. Then going to Liverpool obviously is a massive ask. And at that point, I think what Arsenal are doing is building momentum. You know, they're getting the wins when they need to get the wins. What they're doing is beating the teams that they should beat, and then they're probably losing to the teams that they should lose to, like Chelsea or like Liverpool or City, where there's no shame in that. But everyone in and around them, like, having to get it done. 2 games against Wolves, got it done against Brentford, 0-0 at half time, come out second half, get it done. They're getting it done. Doesn't matter what it looks like, they're getting the points on the board. It'll be interesting to see how they do whenever they do play the Chelsea game, the Spurs game, the Liverpool game. So it's not over. And speaking to a lot of Man United fans and feeling the frustration, it's like, yes, of course, mathematically it's not over, but when you look at the mentality of the team right now and how inconsistent we are, if we there's only so much longer you can go doing this before you are just out of it. Do you know what I mean? If Arsenal keep putting a run together like they're doing, they're going to take the onus. And the momentum is with Arsenal, but it can all change. One thing I've learned about this season in particular, in that area of the table, is that you can't really predict a lot. Spurs go from Conte saying he wants to leave in a press conference and then needs to sack me. They go and beat Leeds, which everybody does. And then all of a sudden it kind of changes that, if they win their 2 games in hand, they're 1 point behind us. It changes week by week, game by game. If Arsenal slip up, it can do the same. So I don't know, man. I'm feeling a bit flat, but obviously it can still happen, but it's getting very, very difficult.
Yeah, you still got the points on the board, which is always the most important thing, I think. But I mean, I watched the highlights of the game, and you absolutely, I don't think there's nothing more that Man United could have done apart from put the ball in the back of the net. And Bruno Fernandes in particular, he had a nightmare, didn't he? He missed chances that I couldn't believe it was Bruno Fernandes. I'm like, it's got to be someone else. I mean, he was just so off it.
100% way off it, and that's the frustrating thing as a Man United fan. Obviously, as rivals looking in, it would probably look like same old Man United, still rubbish, still getting crap results. But when you watch, you know what it's like when you follow your team and you see everything. There has been an improvement, and Ralph Rangnick can do no more. Before it was a case of, I'd hate to be a forward at Man United. You get starved of opportunities. There's not a lot of chances to score, and now we're creating chances, but we're not scoring. But the problem then is when it doesn't go our way. The top teams, the Liverpool, Chelsea, City, obviously, if they go through a spell like that of a first half where it didn't quite go, even Arsenal to a point, because it kind of happened against Brentford, I watched, they still find a way to go up gears and continue doing what you're doing. It's like we're feeling a bit sorry for ourselves. And when we don't get the goals that our maybe performance deserves in them moments, we're then getting flatter and flatter and flatter, and then desperation kicks in. And then the opposing team can take confidence from that. Watford didn't have to do anything. They just defended doggedly, defended well. And you could see the more the game went on, they grew in confidence. And you know what Roy Hodgson's side's like. You know what? They won't break us down. They won't break us down, and that's what happened. And we just grew frustrated.
There's about 10, 11 games to go now in the Premier League. What is the best that Manchester United can hope for now? Because let's try and compare the ambitions that you had at the start of the season compared to now. How different are they? And what's the best you can hope for now?
The best situation is win the Champions League, get past Atletico next week, 1-1 in the balance, win the Champions League, and well, you could say the best possible solution is finish third. That's being so optimistic when you're saying best case scenario. But obviously, with how it's going, we're a million miles off winning the Champions League. We all spoke about it on the round table about my thoughts about that. You never know, of course.
Cup game,
competition. You never know. But like I said, when you get to the latter rounds and you play the big boys who are prim and proper, either we'd have to do something which we haven't showed, which is be top notch in them couple of games, 2 legs. You never know, but I doubt it. And just keep getting a run and this March. It's all about this March. You know, if we have a catastrophic March, and lose 3 in a row. Let's say we lose to who is it again? City on the weekend. Spurs after that. Liverpool after that. Say we drop 9 points. That's the worst case scenario. Over. Even if we drew all of them, it could be over. Because Arsenal are playing their games and they're doing all right. So if you win yours, then we could be out of it.
City, you're decent against City though. You're decent against City. You got a good record against City.
Doing that, Liverpool. This is what's annoying me about this game now, because Liverpool are waiting. You know, they was all probably watching that Everton game, hoping Man City would drop points, obviously, so they can get back in there. It's very tight there now. We have a good record against Man City, and I can just see it now. We nick a draw off them. You know, look how Spurs played against them. That's how you play against City. Sit back, you hit them on the counter. We're capable of doing that. And if that happens, it will make me happy, but at the same time, it will piss me off, because Liverpool will just get straight back in there, and it's just a shit situation.
You know, the thing is, I was just about to say that is that I think both you and Tottenham play better when you're not, you know, what I mean, you can sit back and you can catch teams on the counter attack. When the onus is not on you, and I think that's why both Man United and Tottenham have struggled this season in the games where they're expected to go there. It was no shock to me that Tottenham did that to Leeds, because I'm like, Leeds are set up perfectly for Tottenham. And no shock that you did that to Leeds as well. But on the other games, like the weekend now, where the expectation is upon you guys now to go out and attack, especially at home. Nobody don't want to see no counter-attacking football from Manchester United at home. That is where you've struggled. So I reckon it wouldn't surprise me they get a result against City. It really wouldn't.
Please do us a nice little favour.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm sure Alex would. I'm sure Alex and every other Liverpool fan would welcome that. And in the derby games, like the cliche saying goes, form goes out the window. It doesn't matter. When Liverpool used to be bang average all them years ago, and Man United were the top team in England, doesn't matter where they were in the league, where we were in the league. You turn up at Anfield, mate. There's a high chance you might not win the game. It's an absolute fortress. It's an absolute fierce rivalry, and it's the same when you go to City right now. In the last couple of seasons at the Etihad, we've won.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's a decent record.
We've done really, really well there. It's a really weird one, and like you said, when the onus is off us, and we need to just be organised. Because defensively, we've improved. We're not conceding as many goals as we have been, and we're creating more chances. We're just not scoring. So City, we can get something out of that game. It's just whether or not Man United can show up.
You know, I've got a final question for you. Yeah. Obviously, as a Man United fan, you're in a horrible situation. One of Liverpool and Man City are probably going to win the league.
Of course.
You know
out of those two, who would you rather? You can't even turn around and... This is one of those questions where you can't even turn around and say, oh, well, let it be a draw or so, because it can't be.
No,
one of them's got to win it.
Yeah.
Who as a Man United fan, who would you rather?
To be honest, I've had this for the last couple of years, because them two, you know, last year it was City, year before that it was Liverpool, year before that it was City. Like, it's just them two. So that I've got used to. Like, it hurts, but it is what it is. But for me, I can't choose one. impossible to choose one. But what I would say is what I do want to happen, which is why I actually am happy that the title race is back on, is I want one of them to just experience absolute agony from getting so close, but they never quite made
we
it.
felt
So
that already.
whether that's Liverpool now thinking they got a chance, and then we go and beat them or something, and then they go to the Etihad and Man City beat them, and then all of a sudden they're back to 9 points behind or something like that, or last day drama where Liverpool couldn't get it, or last day drama or City lose it. Whatever it is, I need one of them to be badly hurt. As long as one of them are badly hurt.
Love it. I love that. Flex.
that.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much.
Big up, fellas. Keep up the work. See you later.
Hey, I love that. I love that answer, man. One of you to feel pain.
Do you know what? It's like having two blokes to take your wife, and you don't want to pick any of them. It's just the worst situation. Do you know what? A great funny comment here that I have to read out, that I wanted to read out to Flex, but he's gone now. And it says, where is it? It was from the Chipmunk fella. Where was it? Said something about, I can't wait to see Penaldog doing the Sue against Derby in the Championship in 3 years. Derby might not even be around in 3 years. But yeah, big up to Flex. United view, if you're a United fan, get on there. He's getting content with the players themselves.
Yeah, you see him the other day. He gets in everywhere.
I don't know how he slides into these places, bro, honestly. And I wish I could say I go with him, but it's Man United, so I wouldn't. But no, fantastic insight there from Flex, and he's always on Sky Sports News as well. So we're lucky to have him around. Big up to Mark T with the super chat. I hope Liverpool win the title, he says, Robbie. Can't stand City winning as usual. I hope Arsenal get top 4. It's up to us to do it now. We're going to do this #red. So I don't know if he's Liverpool or Arsenal fan there, because red could be the one of us.
It's only true Reds Arsenal.
Well, all red is Liverpool, isn't it? The Reds. Another super chat from EM. Big up to you. Reports Ranić has lost patience. He's saying PR7, not CR7. Why is there a GOAT debate? Messi's statistically the better goal scorer, better dribbler, and better passer than PR7.
I'll tell you what, though. Ronaldo scored more goals than Messi this season. Messi's hardly scored a goal at PSG.
He's got 3 or 4 in the season?
Yeah. I think it's less than that. He's only scored 1 goal in the league, I think it is.
Interesting.
That's shocking.
Not great.
He's got, I think he's a top assister in the league, but he didn't buy him to assist, but Ronaldo still scored goals. But I did watch the game, and I've got to say, United, they'd be kicking themselves. They had so many chances.
Sometimes Match of the Day doesn't do it justice. They only put in a few. Yeah. But yeah, I did see the extended highlights.
They absolutely peppered Watford. But Royalton, he's good at setting his teams up to frustrate.
Do you know what? A lot of people maybe weren't too happy with Roy coming back into the Premier League. But listen, you might not agree with his tactics and his team selections all the time. But sometimes it works.
He always gets his team organised. Yeah. The only problem with them at this stage is that 1 point don't really help them. You know what I mean? It doesn't really help them because...
It's better than nothing, though.
It's better than nothing. Yeah, I guess you can say that. You go into Old Trafford, you're expecting nothing, ain't you, as a Watford fan. And you've got a point, so it's something to hold on to. So.
EM sticking up for Messi here. He says, Messi has hit the post more times than anyone in the top 5 leagues, Robbie.
Yeah, but,
And he plays much deeper than Penaldo, says Ian.
Yeah, he does. I've noticed at PSG, he has this role of sort of... He's literally like the number 10.
Yeah.
And he's been brilliant at it, the way he's been, he's assisting and that. But I guess they still want to see more goals from him. But do you know the thing that I noticed him? It was really, really funny on Saturday night. Right? I was with my son and we were watching the Man City Everton game, which I know we're going to touch on in a minute, right? And then straight after that, I watched PSG taking on Saint Etienne. And the difference in the pace of the games is startling. You see that, the Premier League is so much quicker. I mean, the game yesterday, the League Cup final, the pace at which that was played at, it was just end to end. I mean, this is why, to me, Premier League, best league. Best league to watch.
Worst officials.
Worst officials. Well, we'll get on to that.
We will get on to that. One thing I did want to bring up, and big up to Henry, who's let us know in the chat. What's this man behind me? It's Aubameyang. 5 goals in 4 games.
I heard you lot on the Saturday football show talking about how that guy we've got to change him.
Yeah, I was like, Robbie, we'll wait till the end of the season, I think.
Like you said, the budget.
Yeah.
But yeah, Aubameyang scored again. And do you know what? This is the thing is that with Arsenal, I said this, this is the risk of letting him go, because I knew he was going to score at Barcelona. I mean, he's, 5 goals he scored now.
He scored a couple away at Napoli as well. Very hard place to go
and he's scoring good. He's back to his instinctive best. And I was just, when he was at Arsenal, and I was sort of arguing this with some Arsenal fans, I am a big fan of Aubameyang's, and I was sort of, can't we put an arm around him and get him back on board because I think he looks like that type of player. Get an arm around him, and he can
get that kind of
natural goal scorer.
To go here, mate, come back.
Do you know what? We don't know what's gone on. We don't know what's gone on, how deep it is. But it's I'm actually pleased for him that he's doing well. As long as we're doing well, I want him to do well as well. So,
well, who knows what's going to happen in terms of strikers and Arsenal in the summer.
Great move for him, wasn't it?
It was fantastic move. 2 goals against Napoli. Scored again last night. Did the old front flip celebration as well.
5 goals.
Looking like he's loving it. Big up to David T with the super chat. For a guy named Kepa, he sure does fail to Kepa the ball out of the net.
More like Kepa, the way he's
got done like a Kepa. Yeah,
done like his hand was like a Kepa. That one from Kanate.
Let's talk about Everton, Man City then. We are going to be speaking to Connor, the Leeds fan, from One Leeds fan channel very shortly about the Marcelo Bielsa change or sacking. But we've just seen as well that officially Everton have appealed the official's decision to give that penalty, and they've made an official complaint, as you can see there, Robbie, on the TV.
Listen, that could be. Forget Liverpool, because I know every Liverpool fan, these weird situations that are popping up where every Liverpool fan wanted Everton to win.
Yeah. But Everton fans wanted City to win.
And then next week now, every Liverpool fan's going to want Man United to win against Man City. But forget that for a second. Everton are in a relegation battle. Like you said, with what you just said about Watford, those points, even 1 point, could be a booster, especially when you're playing Man City. I'm sorry, that was a clear handball. Oh. When it happened, look at Rodri. He knows.
Back there?
It's a clear handball. VAR have looked at this and said no. I mean, what's going on? And they got that little, they've got that little graph. Even with that little graph that they got that shows the area of handball, it's still handball.
Yeah.
It was
But they came out and said, look, we got the decision wrong. And I actually respect that. But
that's no good. That's no good to Everton. No. Everton now
and Liverpool. That could cost us the league.
Everton now, right? Don't worry, you do your own job. Everton now, right? No, but you are right as well. In the context of the whole title race, Liverpool will be aggrieved because that would have put it into your hands completely, right? Everton now, though, even worse than you guys, they're in a relegation fight. That at the end of the season, imagine if they go down because of that. I could not believe it when I was watching the game and they gave that as, no handball. I couldn't believe it. It was the most appalling decision. When people are watching the Premier League around the world and they see decisions like that, they must be thinking, if we was watching, right, it's like, remember how everybody was mocking that referee who blew up early in the African Cup of Nations, and they're mocking it and they're probably looking on it and saying, they're referees. Well, I'll tell you what, I watched the African Cup of Nations, and apart from that, the referees in the African Cup of Nations were much better than the referees that I see in the Premier League, right? It was an appalling decision, and they got VAR to get it right. This is why I say I don't blame. It's not VAR. It's the people that run it. Because how can you look at that and say that is not handball? How can you look at it over and over? I only needed to see it the first time.
It's just a 5-second look at the screen. You can see it's a clear handball and it's a penalty. And did you see Rodri's face as well? He had the face of guilt.
Guilt.
He's like all over his face. He was going red. He knew exactly what he'd done, and it was unbelievable.
Even the referee on the pitch, how's he not given it?
But why should he even need to be relying on VAR for a decision like that?
It was shocking.
When they slow it down at the point of impact, surely they'd be like, so you're telling me everyone in that VAR room, what, they all think, nah, not a handball. I just don't believe it. I can't believe it. I've refused to believe that.
Absolutely
Everton needing
shocking.
every single point they can get at the minute. Don't forget, they have won just 2. That is 2 of the last 18 Premier League matches since the start of October. Drawn 3, lost 13. They're 9 points in this time is the fewest of any side in the division since October. That is awful. That's half a season, Rob. 18.
Yeah, it's shocking, but then, I feel sorry for them because they shouldn't have dropped points at the weekend. Right? So, they should have got a point out of that game, and that would have been a big booster. You play Man City at home. I thought Everton played really, really well. They were defending brilliantly till they made a real stupid error, and Foden nicked in, and
what a bad mistake from Keane.
Yeah, it was, and he was playing so well, and Foden dispatched of that. But then they, as I said, should have had a penalty at the end. We don't know whether they would have scored it or not, but they would have had a chance to have got, to have got back in the game. And I think if they would have got if that game would have finished 1-1, they would have deserved it because they played really, really well on the day. And I think Everton will get out of trouble. I do. I think they'll get out of trouble. I think they've got too many good players. I know you shouldn't say that, too good to go down, but I think they've got too many good players to, go down. I think there's going to be 3 teams worse than them, but that was a real injustice. A real injustice.
Yeah, and on the other side of the coin, Manchester City now have won 15 of their last 17 Premier League games, drawing 1 and losing 1 outside of those 15 wins. Also winning 9 of the last 10 away from home and drawing 1 in those 10. So imperial form. Obviously, they have lost that one game, which has kind of maybe thrown a little bit of doubt over the title race, but they didn't actually perform well against Everton. That was the thing that stood out for me.
I think, they've gotten away with a few, Man City, recently. And I thought, as I said, you're right, they didn't, they weren't their slick best against Everton. And, it wouldn't surprise me, you're Man United. Because as I said, Man United are set up for the counter-attack and they got them at the weekend, and that's going to be a tough game. Wouldn't surprise me if I saw City drop points in that game. Maybe the pressure's getting to them a bit.
Well, Rory says City are on head-loss settings right now. We're in their heads.
Maybe, but they still got the job done.
They still got the job done, but it's 2 bad performances in a row.
2 bad performances.
City, which Pep won't be happy with, of course.
But they still got the job done at the weekend. Tricky game to go away to Everton. Everton, as I said, 5:30 kickoff. They were all pumped up. The fans were brilliant there. But City got the win. Remember, Liverpool are going to have some moments like that as well. Liverpool will have their moments. Who's going to hold their nerve from now till the end of the season? Because Liverpool got some tricky games coming up as well. And even your trip to the Emirates, that's a
March
possibility.
The 16th, yeah.
That's one of the sort of games that you look at and think that won't be an easy game for Liverpool. You know what I mean?
Be interesting doing the preview on that one.
It's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to that game.
I can't wait.
That is a game where, listen, on paper you'd say Liverpool, but Arsenal have been very good at the Emirates. Remember that performance they put in against Man City. I do think that will be a tough game for them. That's going to be one of the tough games that Liverpool are going to face. So the title race is still going to be interesting, but certainly I can see why you're gutted, and I can see why every Everton fan is gutted, because that was horrendous.
It was indeed. Big up to Mr. King, Summit to get me through the day, lol. So he's enjoying the show today, helping him get through this Monday. Right, let's talk about Leeds, shall we? Again, a shocking result for them at the weekend, which has had grave consequences. Marcelo Bielsa, the king of Leeds for the last 3.5 years, has been sacked. Jesse Marsch, former manager of Leipzig, rumoured to take over, and there will be an announcement today, we are hearing, at Leeds to let us know what is happening with the new manager situation. So, of course, on the show, we like to bring in some of the best content creators from around the land, different channels, different teams. This time we are speaking to Leeds fan. It's Connor from One Leeds Fan Channel. He's joining us now. How are you feeling, mate? Connor. Because it's not been a great couple of weeks, and it's just got a little bit worse.
It's not been a good couple of days, to
You know what? I've got to ask you, Connor. Thanks for coming on, mate. Always good to see you. But what's your reaction? Because I've been really interested to see that the majority of Leeds fans that I've heard on different phone-ins and stuff like that, they've really been against this sacking. I mean, under normal circumstances, I think most other clubs, with the recent record that Bielsa's had in some of these games and the 6-0s and 4-0s and that, people will be like, well, you know, he had to go. But in the case of a lot of Leeds fans I was listening to, they were like, no, we should have kept him.
Yeah, I think so, Rob. I think it's because the games that we've got coming up, mate, are we've got 6 really good games now. Well, I'd say really good. They're winnable games. You know, we've been battered by top clubs, but there have been the anomalies in there with, you know, Everton and Newcastle as well, which I think is where he's come under real scrutiny. But he's had the spine of his team out, the best players, you know, England's player of the year in Calvin Phillips, 18 goals last season for Patrick Bamford. He's been out. So it's been a torch Leeds side, but Leeds fans are gutted. They're absolutely gutted. He's brought the good times back, and only the Leeds fans will really understand what he's done on and off the pitch. Off the pitch is massive as well. He's brought a club who were in the doldrums, the absolute doldrums of the Championship, back together. He's brought a culture, and it's more than just football, Rob. And I think we all get caught in this football world and the results-driven business, but there's more to it than that. You know, Leeds is now a community again, and he was at the helm of that. But I understand why they've maybe thought again about his position. But, you know, the guy coming in doesn't look like the defence is going to shore up with this guy coming in. So the questions are, what was the point? You know, is it all worth it? Unless you go for someone like Nuno, who we know is going to be a defensively minded coach, as an example. You're going for someone who's going to play a similar sort of style. So, you know, was it all worth it with the games that we have got coming up? That's the question that a lot of Leeds fans are posing now.
I like your point there where you said it's not all about football. Of course it's not. It's about the memories and the times that you have following your club round. But I'm going to stick up for Bielsa. He did get a bit of criticism. You've heard the old the bucket merchant chants and, you know, the Spygate, etc. But the way he galvanised that team, and let's not forget, his 3 best players in that team have been missing. The captain, Cooper, out. You saw them all sitting on the sidelines watching the game at the weekend. Calvin Phillips out and Bamford out. Miss. I mean, surely I would have thought that he's had enough respect in the bank to last until at least May, which is only, 2 months away. Let him get his players back and see what he can do with that. But they haven't given him the time.
Yeah, I think you're right, mate, and I think Robbie alluded to it last season as well when me and him spoke, that Leeds were doing the exact same thing last season. We got thumped at Leicester, we got thumped at Palace, and then he sort of changed. The system changed a little bit, and then towards the back end of last season, we won 7 out of 10. We were second in the form table going into the summer, and you thought he can adapt, but he's not. He's simply not done it this year. When we've been getting battered, it's the same thing. It's man for man against these top quality players, being battered by our rivals. Manchester United, the club that we hate, has been humbling and horrendous, and 6-0 Liverpool, 4 Arsenal, 4 Spurs. You know, I think it's hurt the players as well. The confidence is absolutely on the floor, and the board have clearly seen that and thought that all they can think of right now to keep Leeds in the Premier League is that someone's going to come in and give the spark that a Dean Smith has at Norwich, or the spark that I don't know, the clubs in and around us may have, you know, Roy Hodgson at Watford, whatever. But, you know, there are a lot of Leeds fans who, let's say, are looking at Sean Dyche at Burnley, who's been given the chance to turn it round even when it was horrendous there, and thought to themselves, maybe Bielsa can do the same, and maybe he's got that credit in the bank. So I completely empathise with what you're saying, mate. It's cut a lot of Leeds fans, including myself, very deep.
Is it though? Is it that lack of being able to adapt? Because I remember when Arsenal played Leeds and I went up there, I couldn't believe the tactics. I couldn't believe how wide open Leeds were. Against Tottenham at the weekend, same thing, man-to-man marking. I was like, no, this is suicide football. Is it that lack of adaptation that has cost him? Because, you know, you look at a Sean Dyche or something, they're grinding those results out now. They played Tottenham during the week, got a 1-0 win by just sitting in. And if you are missing so many top players, surely he has to do that.
Yeah, and that's my opinion, Rob. I think he had to do it, and he didn't do it. And he stuck by his principles, which we know is it's not really a thing in the modern game, is it? When there's a little bit of pressure applied on a manager, they normally jolt, they normally jerk, but this guy doesn't, and it's admirable in a way. But ultimately, in my opinion, I mean, if Marcelo was to stay in charge, I still think we'd have been on a one-way path to the Championship, because, as I've said, you know, with a lack of change, it breeds a lack of confidence as well. We don't know what stories are coming out of Ellen Road at the minute, but there's some discontent apparently with the players in terms of what was going on as well. So that doesn't breed confidence in the fans. But I do agree. I think adaptation has to happen in the Premier League. It really does, and I think this season, you realise how just cutthroat and ruthless the division is. It doesn't take any prisoners, and I agree, it had to happen, and it hasn't happened, and I think that's why it's forced the board's hand.
One more for you, Connor. Now, Leeds have lost 4 consecutive Premier League games for the first time since December 2003 to February 2004 under Eddie Gray. Jesse Marsch, the man who's rumoured to come in, people in the comments are calling him Ted Lasso already. Because of his ties to American football. I mean, is he the man to turn it around, or should Leeds have aimed a little bit higher than Jesse Marsch, with all due respect?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of talk about Valverde as well. I think it was between him and Jesse Marsch, obviously the ex-Barca coach. Yeah. But it's a real predicament, really. I mean, if you come into Leeds now, you know you're in a battle. You don't have a transfer window to turn it around. You are coming in with a thin squad. You know, if you come in and don't like Luke Ayling as your right back, you're going to have to stick with Luke Ayling as your right back, because we have no other options. If you come in and don't like the left back, Junior Firpo, you're going to have to stick with him because it's a small squad. So this is what he's coming into right now, and he's got to understand the magnitude of the task ahead of him now, keeping Leeds United in the division. It's going to be a tall order, but that AGT is why, you know, there's a lot of people who said he should have stuck out Bielsa, but there had to be a change. It didn't come from Bielsa, but it's come from the board. But I don't think, you know, beggars can't be choosers. If we're to get someone, I think at the minute this is sort of the pedigree we're looking at with the position we're in.
I've got one final one, Connor, because I'm just looking at the table. Leeds 16th, played 26 on 23 points. Everton played 24, just below you, on 22 points. Burnley 24, played on 21 points. Watford 26 on 19. Norwich, these two look like they're gone. Probably there's one other position. Can Leeds survive? Brentford in the mix as well for going down. Can Leeds survive this season?
Yeah, I think so, Robbie. We can survive. It just depends. We need this new manager bounce, and that's what the board has banked on. But we ultimately need Calvin Phillips and Patrick Bamford to be back at some point this season, especially with the run of 6 we've got up. If they can play even 50% of these games, it's going to be a massive boost to Leeds United. But I do think we can stay up, but it's a huge risk, a massive, massive risk. But hopefully it'll pay dividends in the end.
One more thing for Connor before you leave. A lot of people in the comments here are saying that you look like Jack Grealish combined with Sean Dyche.
I'll take it.
Take the first one. Don't take the
first
second
one. Take the first
one. Connor from One Leeds Fan Channel, thank you so much for coming on, mate. Big
Thank
up.
you,
I guess we'll
cheers,
see you later on in the season. Nice one.
Cheers, Connor.
That was a great chat with Connor.
Take the Jack Grealish one.
Yeah, you take that all day. Don't take Sean Dyche. Bit of an insult. Big up to Amit. Robbie, this is a super chat, so before I read it out, I have to read it out, okay? Just remember that.
Here we go. Right.
Congrats to AGT. It seems like everyone wants to congratulate me today.
Well, did you play yourself?
I might as well have. I might as well have been in goal. People did say I look like Kelleher, though. So,
hey, that's a shout.
Yeah,
you do look a bit like Kelleher.
Yeah, some people
like an older version.
All right, mate. Only 4 years older than him. Congrats to AGT and Liverpool on the trophy win. Nice seeing Harvey Elliott respond to the Chelsea trolls on his Insta with "London is red. He knows ball." That is the super chat there from Amit. Yeah, brilliant that. Right, let's talk about some of the other games that happened. A massive win for Newcastle. I was with Matthew Renton after.
Yeah, I saw him.
I had dinner with him after. And do you know what he was saying? He's going, 14th, mate. Can't even see relegation from here. Can't even see it, mate.
I think they're going to survive now. They're looking good. I mean, looking at the table, 14th, as you said. Played 25 as well. So, you know, got a game in hand over Leeds and 2 games in hand over Brentford. And I'm saying they're starting to look good. They're gonna survive.
Yeah, 2-0, massive away win for them. Bruno Guimaraes still can't start though, Rob.
Yeah,
and Joe Linton's keeping him out of the team.
Joe Linton again, yeah, I mean,
Brazilian
excellent
compadre.
again. Excellent.
Draw for Burnley, which gives them a vital point away to Crystal Palace.
They were losing 1-0. That was again Burnley. Sean Dyche, man, this guy is a miracle worker. A bit like what Connor said, sometimes you've got to stick with the guy. Could easily have sacked him on many occasions over the years. Burnley could have pressed the trigger, and they didn't. They've stuck with him, and he's paid dividends.
It's almost as if there was no other...
They're getting out of it. They're not going down, Burnley.
Massive shot, that. Massive shot.
They're not going down.
Southampton continuing their hot streak. A 2-0 win at home to Norwich, who look a little bit deemed now, if I'm honest with you.
They're done.
So they could be done. Let us know in the comments what you think of those results. And of course, don't forget, this is an FA Cup week as well. There is Premier League at the weekend too. However, the round of 16 looks like this. Peterborough versus Manchester City. What a time for Peterborough to have that tie. Could really save the club from going down. Palace versus Stoke.
What's the score going to be in that game?
Well, who knows? We've seen bigger surprises, Rob. You never know.
I'll bet you, I'll give you £100 if Peterborough beats City.
Well, I'm not giving you £100 if City beat Peterborough.
I'm even that confident you don't even have to give me 100. They are not. Peterborough. The posh beating Man City.
What's his name? The old chairman, Barry Fry.
Barry Fry. They're not. Remember that famous story of him peeing in every corner.
Yeah.
Right, to bring luck. He's going to have to pee
Bruce
on the whole...
did that at Anfield.
He'll have to pee around the whole ground. You know what I mean? They've got no chance, man. That's
or just go to the toilet. Palace versus Stoke, big game there. Obviously, former Premier League team Stoke.
Palace, you know what I mean? Go for this. If you're a Palace fan, go for the FA Cup.
Got to the final a few years ago.
Yeah, go for it, man. These are just, I can never understand teams like that sometimes when they rest players and stuff like that. Go for it. Chance of a trophy.
Why not? Middlesbrough versus Spurs. Obviously, Borough fresh from knocking out Manchester United in this competition. Could that be an upset there, Middlesbrough Spurs again? We've seen Spurs fall at this stage to teams like this.
You know what I said, like, I think Spurs, they like when teams sort of attack them. Obviously, Middlesbrough won't. They'll sit back. So I can't see an upset in that. That would be horrendous for Spurs. Come on, Middlesbrough.
Off the borough. Luton versus Chelsea, Kenilworth Road, I think. Is that still their ground, Luton?
Kenilworth Road,
yeah. We were saying earlier, that's the Jamal
Edwards derby, man. Imagine if he would have loved to have gone to a game like that. But yeah, you can't see Chelsea not winning that. It'd be a tough game for Chelsea, though, coming off the back of the Carabao Cup final.
And Luton, nothing to lose in that one as well.
Yeah, and I think Luton are playing well at the moment as well. I think they're on form at the moment.
They are. Southampton versus West Ham, a juicy Premier League tie that.
That's a good one.
That's a really even game.
That's a really even game. You've got to fancy Southampton at home.
Yeah, I would go for them. Liverpool versus Norwich again. I mean, we've played Norwich in the League Cup this season, twice in the league, and now in the FA Cup as well.
I'm tempted to put another 100. I'm tempted to put another 100.
Stick another 100 on that. Gamble responsibly when the fun stops. And Everton at home to Boreham Wood. Ty's favourite place.
I'll tell you what, right? Boreham Wood. Big up to Boreham Wood. It's a ground I've been to a lot of times because, that's where Arsenal ladies play. Arsenal under-23s share the ground with Boreham Wood. They've got a great little setup there. Arsenal used to play a lot of pre-season friendlies against them, and they've done brilliantly. And what a tie for them. And
away at Everton,
they're doing really well as well, Boreham Wood. You know what I mean? They're on the verge of, maybe coming up officially into the Football League setup. So good luck to Boreham Wood. I mean, you wouldn't be complete. I mean, it's a tall order for them, but I'm looking forward. Of all those FA Cup games, that's the one I'm looking forward to. That one, Boreham Wood against Everton. A pressurised game for Everton, man.
Literally, if Everton don't win that game.
Yeah, and Boreham Wood, anybody who knows about Boreham Wood will tell you I think they've got one of the best defensive records around in all the leagues. So they're good at defending. So, yeah.
Big up the days when Arsenal used to play Barnet.
Barnet. Well,
Underhill's no more.
We always used to do Barnet, but now it's Boreham Wood. It's sort of the partner team. So good luck to Boreham Wood.
Wow, what a show. The weekend roundup, we've had so many games to talk about, so many that we've looked forward to in this week as well. A massive weekend ahead. Liverpool playing West Ham in the late kickoff on Saturday. But this guy next to me, Mr. DR, will be holding down the fort on Saturday, on the Saturday Football Show. He'll be here with Matty Renton as usual. Who else have we got on the show? Do we know yet?
I don't know yet. We'll
find out.
Putting it together.
You guys have been great in the comments again, as always. Make sure if you haven't already, please do subscribe to DR Sports. We're only 5k away from hitting that 200k. Not bad for a channel that only really started about just over a year ago.
Yeah, slightly over a year ago. We were growing, and we got great content on there. So keep it locked. And this is the voice of the real football fans on here, guys from real channels as well. It was great to have Connor on today. Flex, as you know, fantastic to get their opinions of the real fans. So brilliant.
Great show. Thank you very much, Don, for sitting with me and talking about the weekend's football games in the Premier League. And of course, we've chucked ahead a little bit to the FA Cup there as well. So make sure that you're watching those. And of course, we'll be back throughout the week with more great content. So make sure you're sticking around for that. We'll see you soon. Come on, Liverpool.